You know, when you have the AI handle the chats, conversations, well, you don't want to always have to go back and read the whole conversation, right? Well, with Assistable, we can actually go ahead and just summarize the chat conversation in the notes and go high level, okay? Go high level, Assistable.ai, they work together seamlessly to make that work. And we actually just got another endpoint to help us bring in the conversations. We got that today, about an hour ago. So why not do a video on that? And I'll show you exactly how you can set it up for yourself. So let's dive right in here. Let me share my screen. So here we go, we're in the workflows. I won't be building an AI assistant here today. We're simply going to create a workflow that will put the conversation into the notes, okay? I'm saying simply, it may not seem simple to you because we will be using a webhook, but don't worry about that. I will guide you through step by step. Here we go. So first of all, let's rename this. I'll just do that. Now let's go over and, well, for the trigger here. So what I want to do is I don't want to have a summary happen all the time whenever a new message has been sent, because well, to summarize a single text message, that's just not worth it. So what I want to do is allow a bit of time from when the first conversation comes in, from the first reply I get from a customer. I want to wait, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe an hour to kind of see. Typically conversations are going to be finished by that point, and then it can summarize it, okay? So that is what I want to do here. And to do that, what I'll do is my trigger to be customer reply. Customer replied here, and we're going to filter it by has to have the tag for, in this specific case, okay? You may want a different. In my specific case, I'm going to have it have the tag comedy assistant, okay? So if the user doesn't have the specific assistant attached to it, then it won't bring them into this workflow. So that way, for example, if you are conversing with someone, then it won't necessarily summarize it because you're in the middle of the conversation anyway. Now, if you wanted to summarize every conversation, then just don't have any tag filter here. Now, yeah, actually that's the only thing here. Now let's just go ahead and save that, and now let's dive into this a little bit more here. So we will establish a wait time for our 30 minutes, and I'll call it wait 30 minutes for conversation to be completed. Now there's obviously different ways that we could bring them into this workflow. Like we could possibly put something into the assistant where if the conversation has come to an end, then to go ahead and add them to the workflow. But there's just a little bit more of a chance of it failing, of maybe the assistant not doing that at the end of the conversation, and it's not necessary to go through that complication of reprompting that. So we're just simply going to go ahead and do this. Plus, if you want it here, then you can just have it summarize it all the time. Now what we want to do is build the webhook. And this is where you may freak out just a little bit if you're not familiar with them, but go ahead and grab the custom webhook. Just walk with me step by step and you'll be just fine. Okay, so post is the event that we want. You can obviously rename this if you want to. We're going to name it grab the conversations. And this is going to literally grab the whole conversational thread, okay? Now let's go ahead and paste our URL. So where do we find this? What is this? Well, if you don't know where to find this, then why not go to Skool group, and in the docs and API on the top left-hand side, top right-hand side, you can find this and it will open up this screen. So over here, we want the API reference. I'm just going to drag this down. I'm going to pull that over there. And I'll just pull this in here. So now we have our different endpoints here. We want to go with the conversation logs in this specific case. Now here we can see what we need to set up this webhook. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to grab, excuse me, that specific one. And then from there we want to go ahead and, sorry, here I'm back with you. Okay, we'll paste that in there. So copy and paste. We're going to be doing a lot of copying and pasting. And then for the headers, we want to go ahead and grab this. Now I might just create a document for you. Maybe here, even as we film this, I'll just create the document. All right, so what we have here is custom webhook. We're gonna put the API reference link in there. Okay, so I'll just drag this over here on the other screen, and let's go ahead and continue here. So we want to grab this authorization, and it's going to be followed up with the bearer API key. Okay, so that's going to be your API key. Let's go ahead and pop that in here. So in the header, first of all, we're gonna pop in authorization, just copy and paste it in, capitalization, everything the same. And we want to type in bearer space, one space, just one. And then we want to go ahead and grab our bearer API key. So that one we can find in our portal. If you go to your Assistable portal, you can find it under integrations. And in here, we want to grab the REST API key. So create the key. You need to have your password for this. And then we'll create the key, and we'll just copy that one. Now, just so you know, do never share your keys, because that is literally a link where if somebody else use that, then you could be charged for the tokens or whatever they're being used for, depending on the type of key. So this is the REST API key, and we have the other key that we'll have to grab from OpenAI shortly. So especially that one, you don't want to share that as far as the tokens goes. Now let's paste that in here. So I will be deleting this one before you even have a chance to watch this video. In here, we want to go ahead and grab, let me just put that in here. So since I'm filling this out here, you may actually have time on your own webhook to fill this out while I do this. So we have the headers. Okay. And then we have accept, copy, and we're gonna copy this part here too. And we also have, so this is the same thing right here. So just add with that, and I'm gonna show you how to add that to the webhook now. Okay, so what we have here, boom, here is we want to put in our accept, and we want to put in our application JSON. Down here, we want to add content type, and again, that was application JSON as per this right here. Okay, so just take that, copy and paste it in. Now let's go ahead and start on the body parameters. So we scroll down a tiny little bit, and let's go ahead and add an item. What we want to do is we want to add the contact ID. Where are we? Here. Contact ID, copy. And I was wrong. For this one, we don't actually need the OpenAI key. We just need what we have here. So contact ID, grab that, populate that there. And now over here, we literally just grab the contact ID. So it's fastest by just typing it, hit contact ID. So that is what we need here. Now, if you have this open up here, that won't work. So just make sure you have no fields that are empty. Let's go ahead and save the response from this webhook. That will just allow us to use it throughout the workflow. And now we need to go ahead and do a test. Okay. So I want to test it with, that phone number. Now this is a conversation I've already had, a contact I've already had a conversation with. So that way we can see what it's pulling. So send test request. And as you can see, it brought back a 200 and it brought back the conversation that I've had. Okay, so this is the conversation right here. As you can see, there's quite a bit going on here. Now let's go ahead and just look it over one more time. We should be good. Hit save there as well. And this is the webhook. So that wasn't so hard, was it now? Let's go ahead and now use that information to populate our notes field. We could use it to fill up any custom value. We could email it, we could text it, whatever we want to do, right? For this, let's go use our GPT from Go High Level. So, wow, it looks like they upped, they have the 4 turbo. Okay, so they don't have 0.440, but 4 turbo. Okay, better than the 3.5. Now let's go ahead and summarize the text. And what are we wanting to do here? We want to grab all this information, and our input text is going to be what we got from this webhook, okay? So we want to go over here, go to custom webhook, and grab the conversations, and response. Oh, why is that not filling up? Okay, so in that case, what I'll do, I'll just save this here for now, and I'll go over here and take a look. What's the name? We want to grab the conversation, and it looks like okay, so that's interesting to notice. So it looks like they're the same conversations happening in both. I'm not quite sure why the difference here. I guess here it's just pulling it as separate conversations. Maybe giving it a bit more context as to who said it. But here we have assistant. Let's just... Yeah, so it looks like maybe, I think, okay, here we go. So it does specify if it's user or if it's the assistant. So I don't really care which one we use. I think I'll just go with the conversation here. So what I want to do is I want to just grab at least part of that. Let's go over here and let's search for conversation. So if you start typing conversation, you should see response conversation up here, which, as you can see, it's the custom webhook #1 grab conversation. So that is the correct custom field value here that we want. Now we want to summarize the following text in 3 sentences, capture the key points, essential information while remaining concise, faithful to the original. And boom. So that is it. Now, it's interesting. So they have that field. It literally just populates that. All right. So now that we have this set up here, what we need to do now is put that into the notes. And this is a very simple task to do. So we're just going to go add to notes, and we're going to grab the GPT response, whatever you called that, or you can even search for it here, OpenAI and response. And that will populate it with the response that the GPT comes up with. So that is how you can add a note to your Go High level. Now let's just take a quick look and see how well it does it. So the name of the workflow is 01. There we go. Let's just add this person to it. This is that same one that I used before. Now let's go over and just double check here. So they'll wait for 30 minutes, so we'll just help them through a little quicker here. All right, click on that, walk them through. Now, if you're doing a ton of testing, you might want to avoid putting the wait action in there till you're done with it, and then just add that at the end. But from now, that should be grabbing the conversations. And if we refresh here, we should see things happening. So here, let's take a look at the execution logs. So it looks like waiting, executed. That's good. Now we're waiting on the GPT by OpenAI. Let's just see once that is done, then we'll go refresh the other one. Actually, I refreshed it already. And it's, yep, it's done. So now let's go take a look at the notes. As you can see here, we have the conversation. And yep, that makes sense. The conversation shifts with a lighter tone with the exchange. With exchanges about living in Lethbridge, humorous jokes about parenting while sick and stuff like that. By the way, yes. Both my wife and myself are sick here these days, and we have 2 kids, and they both were sick last week as well. And one is still just recovering. So anyway, all that being said, it does look like that's a good summary. Now, if you wanted to make it into a more concise summary, you could play around with shortening it up in the prompt. You'd want to do that in this GPT prompt here. You'd want to change the wording on this a bit. At this point, I don't think I saw any dates, so I don't know what you can say, like from that day on, like say since yesterday, summarize the messages since yesterday. What you could potentially do is just say summarize the last 15 messages or something of that nature. That might help out in a case like that. Now, yeah, that is honestly just one little portion, and one little way that you could use these webhooks. So there's a lot of flexibility and customizability that you can have when you use these tools the right way. Anyway, that should do it. Thank you for your time.